Okay, so I didn't realize that I had the driest hello ever in this clip, and y'all deserve so much better than that. So, hello, how is everybody doing? This is Kaya with No Swakaya, and I have with me the first guest I've ever had on my YouTube channel, and her name is Shantae. So, we're just gonna get right into this and go from here. I promise it gets better. So, as you all know, I am a school based therapist, and in the program that we work in, Shantae and I work as a team. And so, while I'm the therapist, she is BHA. So, what we came to talk about today is just how you can help your children, your students, as school gets ready to start. And children's mental health, because I think that's something that we lack in our conversations. So, with us both working together in the school, and she has great insight, then I thought it would be good for us to come together and talk about this together. So, this is Shantae.
Thank you for having me, Kaya.
Yes.
As she said, my name is Shantae. I enjoy working with Kaya in a school setting. I'm also a graduate student. I'm getting ready to start grad school at ORU here in a couple of weeks. So just here to really try to make a difference in families, to kind of help with the back to school stress and all the things that are associated with that. So you ready to do this?
Yeah.
All right.
Let's do it. Okay. So we talk about these things a lot, like how school can improve, how parents can improve, of course, while improving ourselves and our work at the same time. So that's why I thought it would be good to just capture this on video and kind of share. So one of the main things that I really wanted to pinpoint was us listening to children.
Yes.
So often we think because they're kids, they don't have anything of importance to say. And sometimes it's not verbal. Sometimes it's with their behavior, which is a lot of what we deal with. But I think it's so important to listen to what they have to say and not always think that because we're the adults, we have the right answers.
I think it's important that we recognize that kids have voices, and their voices may vary greatly from our own. Yes.
A reason that I got into the mental health field was I felt like I wanted to be a voice for those who didn't have one. And I feel like children are so underrated as far as like what they know, what they feel, what they have to give as far as like what they can share, their different perspectives, and they might be different than yours, and that is okay. Like, you're not the same as your parents,
Right.
you're not the same as your siblings. So just allow them the space to grow. And, it might have to be a small space, right? But giving them even a little bit to shape their own world a little bit, like with you there to guide. But like I said, these babies become adults. And so we want them to have a healthy vision of what that's supposed to look like and be healthy themselves. And so if we allow them to develop their own opinions about things, even just listening to their opinion, it might be completely wrong or it might be the wildest thing you've ever heard. It doesn't matter. Like, just listen to what they have to say and acknowledge it and go with it. Like, not saying that you have to be like agreeing with everything they say, obviously, but giving them a chance to say, you know what, I feel this way about this, this, and this. Okay, I might think that's wrong, but why do you feel that way? And let them talk it out. Sometimes they change their opinion by the time they get
halfway
to
during the middle of it.
Yeah,
once it's just being able to get it out sometimes, to have a safe place to get it out. So I can sound as crazy as I want to sound right now, but I'm safe in doing this.
Right.
And that is what creates an awesome ground for a good relationship with teacher-child and parent-child.
Yeah. And being able to have those conversations without judgment, without like, no, you have to think like this because this is the way our family thinks. Right. Well, a lot of times the way our family thinks is wrong. And it's absurd. So they might be onto something. Like, maybe just listen. Like, even if they say, Mom, could we try, doing this, like this. Okay, what's it gonna hurt to try it for one day?
Right.
And just see how it works. You might like it.
You might. You might. And then you know how that kid's gonna feel? Like a champion.
Yes,
like,
absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're building their self-esteem up so much to where they grow up being independent, valuing themselves, and knowing that what they have to say. Listen, Black people, we get cut off from. We're so devalued already
as a people. Yes.
Yes. Like sitting in meetings and feeling like nothing you have to say matters one bit. But if you start putting that into a child, no, you have something to say and it's valuable and I'm going to listen to you and you deserve to be heard.
Yes.
Do you know what kind of adult you're building?
Yeah.
Like,
absolutely.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
Just
That's powerful
about
thinking
it.
about that.
Like,
yeah. And that starts like 1, 2. The moment they start talking is when that starts. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We have to learn to think about the future and what we're building. And it's easy to think in that moment because you have so much other stuff going on, so much on your mind, other emotions, all those different things come into play. But if you take the time to just allow them to think and speak freely, you're gonna create an amazing human being. Like, and sometimes you do have to kind of reel it in and kind of be like, okay, now you're going a little too far, whatever. Yeah. But at the same time, still showing them that what they have to say, what they feel, all of those different things are valued because they're going to take it with them forever.
I know I'm a parent and I have grown kids now, but I do know how easy it is to get caught up in the hustle and bustle of the day, and even times that you ask questions and can't even remember their answer because we're so somewhere else. Our body is there, but our minds is on work or relationships, and so we really are not in that moment with our kids, and we miss out on a lot of what they're trying to tell us. They struggle with their words, and so what they can't say in words will come out in behavior, and sometimes we miss that and mistake that as a kid just being bad. But what that actually turns out to is that they're actually trying to talk to you, trying to communicate to you that I am in need of something. A need that I have is not being met, and I don't know how to tell you that. And so listening is, like Kaya said, is so much more than just verbally listening, but it's paying attention to cues and body language and behaviors of your kid.
Yeah, like I saw a post on Facebook a little while ago that was like, your kid, if they need your attention, it might be, will you play with me? Will you do this? But even on the other side, it's comes out in the behavior, and it might be a negative behavior because they want that attention. So it's not for us to say, oh, they just want attention, whatever.
That's huge.
Give it to them. And I know, like she said, like, we're so busy. I don't even have kids yet. In my day, like, I tell people all the time, if I had kids right now, they're like, my mom don't love me. She don't have no time for me. Like, so I understand, but at the same time, you have to carve out that time. That's just like, even with the kids that I mentor at church and stuff like that, they'll ask to go with me. And sometimes I am tired. Then I also understand, what can this time that I give them mean to them, even if it's for their future. So sometimes I have to just sacrifice that. Oh, I can take a nap later, but let's go get something to eat. Let's spend some quality time together. And those are memories that they will never forget, I hope. And so the outcome is way more important than I need my nap today.
Right.
So,
It's a lot more than just providing for the kid that makes a big difference in their
Yeah.
lives. It's those moments that you can spare to be with them, to be present with them, and to truly listen that will make the difference in that child. So I think that part is huge.
Yeah, absolutely. I also wanted to touch on kids being in therapy and getting these kinds of services,
Yes.
particularly in the Black community. And I
Yes.
know I always talk about the Black community all the time, but that's because, number one, that's what community I'm a part of,
Right.
obviously. And I think we struggle so much with kind of catching up, getting rid of those mindsets that were built into us from slavery, and that just have gone generation to generation, and really changing those things. So we were taught from a young age therapy was not for us. We are not to talk about what happens in our house outside of our house. That was said in
rule
itself.
number one.
Yes.
Yeah.
So therapy gets shunned. But what I want to clarify is, number one, therapy it's not necessarily about putting your business out there. So it's not just, oh, girl, tell me what your mama did last night. You know what I'm saying? That's not even what I'm asking. That's not, I don't care. I mean, if you're abusing them or whatever, of course I care about that stuff. But like, my job is not to tear apart whatever is going on in your house. It is to maybe give suggestions on how the household could be better, to help each other and to be stronger. And that's really what it is. It also doesn't mean that you're a terrible parent because your child is in therapy. So I see it going two different ways. Either the parent comes in and we get ready to do an intake and it's about, oh, my kid's doing this, and I need you to fix it.
Yeah, the fixers.
Right.
Yeah. So it's almost like, I'm going to drop my kid off, let you fix my kid, and then when my kid's fixed, send them back to me.
Yes,
yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. And it's like, that is not my job. It has to be a team effort.
Absolutely.
And there are also those parents that are like, nah, we not touching this. There's no way. There's nothing wrong. They're just, whatever. And it's like, no, that's, there's the two extremes. And of course, we're very grateful for those parents that are supportive and, actually want to help and want to be involved and stuff like that. And there are those few that are in the middle. But often, because of the behaviors that we're seeing, we see the other sides of the parent.
And I, as the BHA, don't do as much processing as Kaya, the therapist, does. But I still have ways to be able to help teach children how to self-regulate, how to calm down when they're feeling high stress, not able to get their way. We see that a lot. And it's teaching kids those skills. Let's be honest, being a parent doesn't come with any kind of handbook. If it did, I didn't read it. And so a lot of times we do and parent the way we were parented. And that doesn't mean that's a bad thing, but there could be a different way to do things to get a different result. And therapy could be the option, the answer to that. I know that when I went through a divorce, it's been about 12 years now, that was one of the first things that I decided to do was to get my children involved in therapy. And from there, they were involved in group and were able to openly speak with other kids, going through the same type of thing. And that's where we get a lot of our healing is from others. And when we can be around people that know what we're feeling, know what we are experiencing, we realize that we're not alone. And that's a huge help for kids.
Yeah, absolutely. Because even though they might have other kids in their class that their parents went through divorce, they're not in class talking about that.
Right.
They're talking about what they saw on TV yesterday or what score they got on a game or, stuff like that. So having like a group therapy where that is the focus is helping them. And, good therapy involves the whole family and makes a shift with everyone, not just one person. So it's not just on the child, it's not just on the parents. Okay, the child could maybe fix the way that they respond to different things, or be more on top of their chores, or, whatever, or learn those skills to communicate rather than it coming out in their behaviors. Well, parents could also work on different things, and I'm gonna say teachers too, because we definitely don't want to leave teachers out of this conversation, because it translates to school, which is why we even have a job.
Right. Because technically, teachers are with the students more awake hours than parents are.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And so, teachers knowing those different skills and knowing how to read, if typically Johnny comes into school happy, and now for a week straight he hasn't been, you need to know how to read that and how to respond correctly. Not, what's wrong with you? Why are you not? And it's like, and understand that there are things, children have lives outside of your classroom.
Yes.
And there are things that go on that you will never know about.
Yeah.
Ever. Yeah. And so be aware of that and be cognizant of that life outside of the classroom. If they come in the classroom and they're rowdy, well, they probably didn't get to go play outside, or you never know what kind of night's sleep they had. Maybe parents were fighting all night, so they didn't get to sleep. Maybe they've been placed in a caregiver type position to where they're the ones up caring for another sibling in the middle of the night. Maybe, it's Monday morning, they have not eaten since Friday when they had lunch at school. So building a relationship with your students, that way they are open to telling you these kinds of things.
I just believe when you can try to see your student or your kid through the eyes of compassion, you have a different understanding of what they're going through. And it may not be anything that you've ever experienced personally, but having that level of compassion and empathy will help you see past the behavior that's unwanted. It'll help you see past the disruptions in class, the fights, the cursing. It'll help you see past all of that through the heart of that child. And that is where you can really make a difference in that child. Because it's tiring. I know. I understand. I mean, we were at the school at the end of the year last year. Everyone was like on their last nerve, on their last leg, I should say. And so we get that. We get that it's really hard dealing with some of the same behaviors from the same children over and over and over. But here's my only thought about that. If you're doing the same thing and it's not getting a result, then maybe it's time to try something different.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. And back to what you were saying about the compassion, like, every behavior has a reason behind it.
Yes.
And it's up to you as a parent, as a teacher, as a youth worker, as whatever your role is, to first build that relationship. My teenagers that come to me, oh goodness, like, I can't even tell you like how many texts I get, but I wouldn't trade it for the world. But the thing is, I had to build a relationship with them first.
Yes.
For them to come to me and be like, Aunt Kaya or Miss Kaya, whatever they call me, and say, I almost had to fight this person, but I didn't. And you know what I'm doing? Yeah, you didn't fight them. Now we're going to talk about what happened and, all of that. But it took building a relationship for them to see that I actually care about them and their well-being. And even when they know what they did was wrong, even if they come to me, Miss Kaya, you know what? I got into a fight this weekend. Okay, what happened? And I'm not judging, I'm not condemning them. Yes, I'm gonna say, now you could have made a different choice, right? And we can talk about that.
Yes.
But because I've built that relationship, they know that even when I'm fussing at them, because sometimes I do have to, or whatever, they know it's only because I care about them, and that's why they come to me with it anyway. Because if they thought that I didn't care, they wouldn't come to me with the issue. So
it's a lot of, you hit it right on the head. It's do you react or do you respond? So if you're a parent, if you're a teacher, do you react to your child or do you respond? And that's a really great way to tell if you're able to set up rapport with your kid, is to take a look at how you respond or react to them. Most children have a tendency to be afraid to open up. I know I did. I had this huge fear that I was constantly going to get in trouble. And when we set that much fear up to where we can't be responsive to where we were at, so when I do finally come tell you something and you yell or become really scary to me as a child, that will make me not want to come to you anymore. So a lot of that too is in how you handle what's being brought to you. And once you're able to establish that rapport to where your child can talk to you, you would be amazed, amazed at the things your child will tell you. And you want to know. You want to know what's going on in your child's life. Some of it, trust me, I've grown kids. You don't want to know. But I'm thankful enough that they were able to come talk to me about stuff.
Sometimes it's not even that you respond aggressively. Sometimes we're not talking about that. You have to be able to have those hard conversations because listen, if you don't have them, they will have them with their friends. Yes, with someone else, but more than likely it's going to be their friends, and their friends are going to give them wrong information, or they're going to go to Google and they're going to, oh God, like the things that they can find on Google. It's crazy. It's insane. And so what would you rather you be teaching your child, or would you rather the internet be teaching your child, or their friends? Because none of those are like,
So if you find yourself saying, this kid won't talk to me, then you really have to ask yourself why.
Absolutely. And just, especially going into this new school year, like, and as your kids are getting older, they deal with different things. And, really speaking on children's mental health, we assume they don't go through anything. And, Black families, we're real good about saying, you don't have no depression. How you got depression? And I'm feeding you, I'm clothing you, got a roof over your head, the lights is on.
The roof.
What does that have to do with what's going on in my mind? Nothing. So, and I think it's self-reflection. Like, we take that personally. That's not how it works, though. Like, so you have to be able to step back and say, okay, well, what's going on? What kind of thoughts are you having? Different things like that. And not, I've given you the world, how could you be depressed? Well, the same thing like us, we go, for me, I go to work every day, I get a paycheck, I have a car, I have a house, I still get depressed. Those material things mean absolutely nothing when those kinds of things are going on in your mind. And so we have to not take it personally and think that it means you're being ungrateful. That drives me insane.
That's huge. That's huge in our families, is the ungrateful word. But you're actually providing to me what you're supposed to provide to me as a parent. If you do extra, that's out of the goodness of your heart, right? And so you don't really have the right to hold what you do over a child's head. Never is that okay, but I did it, so it's easy to do because all you're thinking about is how hard you work, and we're thinking that kids don't have stress, but in reality, working in an elementary school with littles, 5, like, kids really do experience stress. That is real, and so it's really important that we don't do that. We try not to hold those things over their head, things that we're supposed to be doing as parents anyways.
And your parents in your home should be your safe place, being that young. And so if I go to my mom and I say, I'm having thoughts of killing myself, and she's like, what? You gonna kill yourself and da-da-da-da-da, and the Bible says this and that. I'm never going to tell you that again.
Ever. Never.
Ever.
It's been shut down.
Yes. And that is a dangerous, dangerous spot to be in. So like she was saying, like, do you react or do you respond? It's scary. It's hard. Like, and I know even with the teenagers that come to me, they come to me and tell me things that I'm like, I hate that they're going through these different kinds of things. Like, but at the same time, I have to check myself first in how I react, because number one, I don't want them to not feel comfortable sharing with me, because I might be the only person that they feel comfortable sharing with. Now, if it's self-harm or something like that, yes, I will take it to the parents, or like talk to them and show them how to go to the parents. But Like, I'm going to make sure that I'm responding in a way that keeps that door open.
Yeah, I think the key thing here to take away from this is to just recognize that if there is a child that is not being heard, is misbehaving or acting out, how we say in our community, one of the main things to take away from this is that everybody plays a role in that.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of times we want to say, well, you know, I don't know what's wrong. It's everyone in the family. It could also include the teachers at the school. Everyone plays a role in how this child is behaving. And so it's important that not only do we get some help for the child, because we're parents and we don't like to always admit that we don't know how to do things, but sometimes that's what we have to do in order for our children to be successful. And then not only do we need help for the kids, we need help for ourselves too. I think that some of us are stretched so thin and so far, and I get that. I was a single mom for a really long time, so I get that not having enough time in the day to really spend with your kids. You've just worked a shift. You're stressed. Now you have children to feed, and I get that. I get that. But there are resources that are out there for families that can help with all of that, because everyone is a part of that.
Yes, absolutely. And I like that you brought up the teachers and how they play a part, because teachers have a lot that they go through, and that's why I'm not a teacher. I did substitute teaching while I was in grad school, and I was like,
I don't know how they do it. I watched them do it every day and spent 3 weeks at summer school, and no, I don't. Teachers are very special and dear to my heart. Yeah,
they
absolutely.
are. And so y'all have a lot of stress too, and you know where that comes in, like, you have to take care of yourself.
Yes.
And this goes for parents as well. Make sure that you're using that self-care.
Yes.
And as we're talking about, you know, preparing for this school year that's coming, making sure that you're building that into your routine. How are you going to take care of yourself? And I know even on the teacher's budget, you know, whatever, maybe it's just spending extra time to yourself in the morning. Maybe it's making sure that you're taking a lunch and setting boundaries for yourself, or making sure that you're leaving work at a certain time. And I know in certain districts that can be harder than others, but doing something for yourself, because it does show up with the kids.
If we don't take care of ourselves, we can't take care of anyone else.
Absolutely.
And that's honest. Your cup will eventually run empty if you're not taking care of you. And it'll come out in your behavior. How about that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
We see that all the time. The person that flips out at the Walmart cashier, or you know what I'm saying? We see that flip out all the time. And it's just because someone hasn't bothered to fulfill their own needs to take care of themselves. Yeah.
And I like that you said that, because a lot of times we excuse ourselves as adults for having those moments, those days. Before a kid, oh no, you are not allowed to have a bad day. Again, I have fed you, I have clothed you, I have a roof over your head. No, you're not allowed to have a bad day.
Put a smile on that face.
Fix your face.
Fix your face. Fix your face. Yes.
And so give your child, whether that's a student, your child, whoever you're working with, give them that space to be themselves and realize that even though they're a child, they're human. And I know a lot of times we read it as disrespect, but a lot of times, number one, they don't know what's wrong, especially once they get up to 12, 13, all these different body changes, all that stuff. Like, they don't know what to communicate to you or how to communicate it to you. So sometimes as adults, we struggle with those same things. So give the same grace to children as you should be giving to yourself. Because, you know, it's always, oh, you're just being disrespectful. No, I really honestly didn't know how else to say that. I didn't mean for it to come out the way, but it did. And so then we take steps. Instead of just punishing the act, let's also figure out how to change it and teach you how you can get better, because eventually these kids turn into adults.
Yes, they do.
So if we as the adult examples are always just shutting them down and we're not paying attention to those things or whatever, what do you think they're going to do as an adult? And then it just goes to their children. But if we're teaching them these skills And that's another way that therapy and like our kind of services come into play, because we help the parents as well. If you're not sure how to deal with the behavior, let us show you.
Yeah, it's
Yes.
Help is out there for you.
Yeah.
Pretty much no matter where you live, help is out there for you. You just have to find the resources to get what you need.
Right.
Yeah.
And so we're kind of going a bit long, so we'll kind of wrap it up. But thank you so much for watching. Again, I'm Kaya with Notes by Kaya. Is there any things that you would like to add or?
No, just thank you for having me on.
Oh, thank you for
fantastic.
doing
Yes.
it. I'm so excited.
Gonna miss you.
We're not talking about that. And I'm gonna cut it out the video. So, but anyway, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe on the channel. Comment what you think, if you have questions, if you have suggestions for teachers, parents, those kinds of things. And we didn't really touch on like more serious mental health issues with children. That's coming. We'll get that on the channel later, but it's just, number one, listen to what they're saying, watch those behaviors. You know your child, you know your student, or you should, building those relationships so that you do, so that they can be comfortable coming to you and talking to you. And just be open. And it's okay to do things differently than what you've the way that you've done them.
Yes.
Yes. So anyway, thank you again so much for watching. Make sure you subscribe and click the bell for notifications, and go to notesbykaya.com and subscribe there too. We do have a new shirt available, and I will stick that right here so that you can see. I'm excited. Everyone has reacted so well to this shirt.
I love the new shirt. I love the new shirt. Can't wait to get one. Yes.
Like, I was just like, oh,
yeah.
Okay, Lord. Like, but when I tell you it woke me up out of my sleep for the design, it was God.
Yeah.
So make sure you check that out, as well as all of our other shirts that we have. We have new services online, so check those out. Again, www.notesbykaya.com. Do you have social media you want to share?
Cut that out. Nope, I do not.
Yes, you do.
Just my cell phone.
Okay.
Yeah, because that's the only one I'm going to use for right now as I go through school. Yeah. So.
Share your social media, Shanta.
Okay, I'm sharing it. Okay. and if you would like to follow me on social media as well, my name is Shanta Hyche. It's Hyche. It's the last name, first name, Shanta.
Okay, and we'll put that below too.
There we go.
And that's on all social media.
Yes.
Y'all, she's really playing herself. Like, she has great insight and things to share. So make sure you go follow her and keep up with her journey, because it's about to blow up. So, yes, like, do yourself.
Okay, as she said, my name is Shanta. I actually... Dang, we didn't talk about that. Do we talk about working together?
Yeah, we can.
Okay.
Yeah. Thanks for watching. Bye.